The internet rarely agrees on anything. Pineapple on pizza. Morning showers versus night showers. Whether a certain moment was nothing or everything. And yet, on this particular day, millions of fans found themselves staring at the same short clip, replaying it over and over, asking the same quiet question. Was that too real? It wasn't a scandal. It wasn't dramatic. It lasted less than 5 seconds. But somehow, it split the internet straight down the middle. The moment came from a public event. Bright lights, neutral backdrop. The kind of setting where celebrities are trained to smile, wave, answer politely, and leave nothing behind but good publicity. Wang and Shen Yue stood side by side, as they had many times before. Two familiar faces. Two professionals. Two people who knew exactly where the cameras were. Everything looked normal, until it didn't. Someone in the crowd called out a question. Not loud, not aggressive, just curious. The kind of question celebrities hear 1,000 times a year. Wang answered first. Confident, smooth, casual. Then Shen Yue reacted. She didn't speak. She didn't interrupt. She just looked at him. It was quick, almost invisible. A glance that lasted maybe a second longer than necessary. A smile that arrived half a beat late. The kind of expression you don't practice in a mirror. And just like that, the clip ended. No touching, no words exchanged, no dramatic music. But the internet paused. Fans slowed the video down, zoomed in, replayed it frame by frame. Some said it was nothing. Others said it was everything. That look was not scripted. One comment read, "You don't fake that," another replied. Someone else joked, "I've watched this more times than my favorite drama episode." Then came the disagreement. One side insisted it was simple familiarity. Two co-stars comfortable around each other. Professionals sharing an unspoken rhythm developed over years of collaboration. The other side wasn't convinced. Because familiarity doesn't usually make the air change. Because smiles don't usually soften like that unless something personal slips through. Because there's a difference between acting and forgetting you're acting. Humor entered the chat quickly, as it always does. Memes appeared overnight. One showed the clip frozen mid-glance with the caption, "When your brain says behave but your heart says relax." Another joked. That look had subtitles, and they were loud. But beneath the jokes was genuine fascination. Why did such a small moment feel so big? To understand that, you have to understand fandom psychology. Fans aren't just watching content. They're watching patterns. They study tone shifts, body language, pauses. They notice when someone leans in without meaning to, when laughter sounds different, when reactions arrive before logic can catch up. Educators would call this micro-expression analysis. Fans call it vibes. And the vibes were loud. What made this moment especially divisive was its subtlety. If it had been obvious, everyone would have agreed. If it had been dramatic, it would have been dismissed as performance. But this sat in the uncomfortable middle. Too quiet to be planned. Too warm to be random. Those who believed it meant nothing pointed out the facts. Public events are exhausting. Cameras are everywhere. Sometimes people simply react instinctively without deeper meaning. They weren't wrong. But those who believed it was real weren't wrong either. Because instinct is exactly the point. One popular comment captured it perfectly. Actors act with their faces. Humans forget with their eyes. That line spread fast. Fans began revisiting older clips, interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, not hunting for proof, but for consistency. They noticed how Wang often glanced at Shen Yue before laughing, how she mirrored his posture without realizing it, how their conversations flowed without interruption. None of it proved anything, but together it painted a picture, and pictures don't need confirmation to be compelling. Another layer to the debate was cultural. In East Asian celebrity spaces, restraint is valued, public affection is minimized, emotional transparency is carefully controlled. That's why subtle moments carry disproportionate weight. A look can mean more than a declaration. A pause can say more than a speech. So when Shen Yue reacted the way she did, fans didn't see exaggeration. They saw honesty slipping through cracks. Still, not everyone was comfortable with that interpretation. Some fans pushed back gently, reminding others that projecting emotions onto celebrities can cross boundaries, that parasocial relationships, while natural, should remain respectful. That conversation mattered too, and it became part of the story, because the moment didn't just divide opinions. It sparked reflection about how we consume media, about how much meaning we assign to people we admire, about where observation ends and imagination begins. Meanwhile, Wang and Shen Yue said nothing, which somehow made it louder. They continued posting normally. Casual photos, work updates, nothing referencing the moment. Fans watched closely. Every caption was dissected, every emoji analyzed, every silence interpreted. One fan joked, "At this point, if they post a photo of the sky, I'll assume it's symbolic." The humor helped. It softened the obsession, turned intensity into playfulness. But the question lingered. Was it too real? A body language expert weighed in online, explaining that authentic microexpressions often appear during unscripted reactions. They're subtle, fleeting, and difficult to fake. Another expert countered, pointing out that trained actors are skilled at emotional recall and can access expressions effortlessly. The debate remained unresolved. And maybe that was the point, because stories don't always need answers. Sometimes they exist to be felt. Weeks later, the clips still resurface occasionally, not trending, just floating, passed between fans like a quiet secret. Someone would post it with the caption, "Still thinking about this." Someone else would reply, "Same." No arguments, no debates, just acknowledgement. That's when the moment changed. It stopped being about proof. It became about connection. Fans weren't trying to expose anything. They were responding to something human, a flicker of sincerity in a space designed for polish. And maybe that's why the internet couldn't agree, because agreement would require certainty, and certainty would strip the moment of its magic. In the end, the question wasn't whether the moment was real. The question was why it mattered, and the answer was simple, because it reminded people that behind the scripts, the schedules, the public personas, there are real humans navigating attention, emotion, and connection in real time. Sometimes they succeed. Sometimes something slips. And sometimes, for a single second, the audience gets to see it. The internet still can't agree. But maybe it doesn't have to, because some moments aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to be noticed and remembered